I'm Kimber Major Morris. Thank you for joining Legal Connections. Have you ever thought of going to law school, and do you think you have what it takes? Our next guest will tell you what to expect along the journey. He is the director of the Legal Scholars Program at FAMU Law. Welcome, John Perdue.
Hey, welcome. Well, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for welcoming me too into your world of the Legal Scholars Program. So tell me about the program.
Okay, the Legal Scholars Program is a pre-professional program that exists on main campus in Tallahassee. Essentially, we take students and former students who express any interest in going to law school, and we offer as much programmatic content support as well as individual advisement and sort of pipeline building as humanly possible to help them achieve that goal. Our stated mission was, when we were founded years ago, was to increase the number of African Americans practicing law in the state of Florida, but also nationwide. And so you may or may not be aware, but only 5% of the licensed attorneys in America are African American, and that's around 1,000, which is a very poorly attended FSU football game. So we have work to do.
All right, so how does the program prepare students for law school?
Okay, that's an excellent thing. As I mentioned, it was a three-pronged approach that we take. So the first thing is we offer as much substantive foundational content for students who are interested in attending law as humanly possible. So in a normal school year, that usually translates to a workshop a week or so, covering all facets of the law school admissions process, as well as life in law school, taking the bar, the character and fitness process, and then life after law school. In addition, in a typical year, we also used to we host our law day. Last year, we actually had a record number of law schools and a record number of students show up. And we usually take the students on at least one trip per semester. We always want to target the College of Law, but we also do the LSAT law forums. And so for former students, we extend an invitation to participate in all of our on-campus activities, and to the extent that we can do them remotely, we want them to participate as well. And in those workshops, we focus specifically on the core skills that are necessary for maximizing your competitiveness as a law school applicant. And we found that once you've sort of built those core skill sets, that then maximizes your competitiveness as a law student, and then hopefully thereon. The second component, of course, is advisement. And so we really do want to steer those students into one-on-one advisement sessions with me so that we can fine-tune their individual plans and programs to maximize the return on their investment. And then also, the majority of our students find that our College of Law is just the best fit for them. And so we really want to use our activities to build a strong pipeline to ensure that our students have the skill sets that they need and the scores and the grades so that they can get into our College of Law.
Okay, and so I know it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, but generally speaking, what kinds of grades are we talking about?
Well, I would say this, a goal for us is, and it is kind of lofty, is we want our average student to meet the metrics to get into our College of Law. Typically, I want our kids, if they're a traditional sort of liberal arts major or social sciences major, to understand you really got to be at a 3.0 or above. When it comes to the LSAT, African Americans have been stuck at 142 for 20 years. That's like 3 points below kind of the minimum that law schools are under some pressure by the ABA to accept. And what we found is that that's because African Americans tend to overinvest in self-study. And we tend to overinvest in sort of the cheapest. We tend to be a little penny wise and pound foolish when planning our LSAT preparation.
Very factual. Yeah. We're overinvesting in self-study. So someone like me, I recall, I wasn't sure I wanted to go to law school, but I do recall buying a book um, from Ben Borders that had a DVD in the back of it.
Oh, wow.
The weekend course. So you're right. I thought, sure, surely if I apply myself. But of course, like you said, there's one-on-one training that has value, and just some of the tactics that you're not going to get from self-study. So I'm glad you tactfully raised that point.
Well, but that's one of the points that we have to communicate to our students. The attrition rate for African Americans has always been pretty high. But I want to say since around 2018, the acceptance rate for African Americans in the law school has been 49%, whereas for the next lowest rate is 63%. And that's almost exclusively driven by the LSAT score. And the stakes are just so much higher now because, when I started law school about 18 years ago, you go and you could probably get a good job and you'll probably pass the bar and you'll be fine. But the job market has changed tremendously. The costs are so much higher and there's a lot of risk that's just now involved with this endeavor. And so this is one area where you can invest your money and your time wisely to maximize the return on your investment. And so there's really no excuse now for the self-studying. I mean, we have the Khan Academy free devices that are offered by LSAC. But when you make the point to those students that you can pay this $1,500 once for a test master's course, or you can be paying that every month for the rest of your life in student loans,
Right.
They usually fall in line.
Yeah. And tell us about the summer boot camp.
Oh, yes, the summer boot camp was a collaboration with the College of Law down in Orlando. It was a completely remote-based platform. And it's something I'd been wanting to do. And fortunately, Ms. Hill at the College of Law was really on the same page with me. And in essence, we wanted to jolt our students back into productivity, especially this summer, where the traditional avenues where they would direct their energy or target their energy that would make them more productive have sort of been cut off from them. And so what it was is essentially a 2-week boot camp. And so in that first week, we focused on the content that we would typically want our undergraduate students to understand. So we did sessions all the way from admissions. We had panels with current law students, current practicing attorneys. We worked on law funding or financing your law school education, as well as time management. So we had our career services do presentations on time management and our resumes. We had our writing resource center do presentations on personal statements and diversity statements. And then each afternoon we did a condensed LSAT boot camp. And fortunately, the College of Law was able to fund some of the participants to participate in a Kaplan course this summer. And so we were sort of using those students and our truncated LSAT boot camp to lay the foundation for the other participants to appreciate the importance of making the investment in one of these courses to max out that LSAT. And then in the second week, we switched to law school content. So we had doctrinal courses. We had a legal writing course with Professor Williams, and then Professor Lundy did the criminal law course. And so the students did readings and they had homework, and we sort of walked them through that as well. And, they seem pretty motivated. They seem pretty excited. And that's really what we want. We didn't want this to be a dead summer. And we also wanted our students to see our College of Law as a resource. Even though they're in Orlando, we're all family. We live in the future. We can leverage technology. And to understand just how committed our College of Law is to their individual success, regardless of where they land in law school, to know that this is a place that, like the rest of us, is thoroughly invested in their success, because the College of Law recognizes the importance of having more and more persons of color matriculate into the profession.
Okay, so just so our viewers know, you're located in Tallahassee, and the Legal Scholars Program, is it accessible online? And are only FAMU students in Tallahassee attending, or do you have students coming from all over? What is the structure?
Okay. So our content tends to be programmatic, in that we do the workshops, and we're in the process, like everyone else, of sort of accepting our fate and remoting everything. And so as we shift to online platforms, we are, we just worked with the College of Law to kind of get our website detached from one department and standalone so we can update it. And our goal is to make everything accessible online for any FAMU student,
Okay.
wherever they may be located. In addition, it's now kind of wise for a lot of people to take a break between undergrad and law school to sort of be deliberate, to figure out if this is really for them. And
Right.
so we don't ever want to neglect our graduates. And so by sort of the gift buried within this curse of COVID-19 is that, by forcing us to online everything, then we can make sure those materials and participation is more accessible. If you know me personally, as a lot of the participants on campus know, I don't really turn anyone away. If, so if you're interested, if you went to Albany State, but you're interested in going to FAMU Law, I'm going to talk to you, and I really do feel a sense of purpose and drive in this particular mission. So yes, it's open to all FAMU students, present and former.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing about the Legal Scholars Program, Mr. John Purdue. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, this is a long-term investment. And in order to survive that long-term investment, to really see the return on that investment, you've got to survive the short term and the near term. And so we always caution our students now, be deliberate. There's certain steps that you have to take to know that you're really ready to go to law school. And if a student goes to law school when they're really, truly ready, then the chances are that law school is always still going to be a great investment for them. And so, if you get the opportunity to talk to me, I'd be willing to work with you to come up with a plan to help you get there.
You got me excited. I mean, if I hadn't already gone to law school, I'd be ready to sign up.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. And thank you for watching Legal Connections.
Okay, thank you.